Good morning, it's Charlotte here from the Slightly Mad Quilt Lady. Today I want to show you some basic fabric folds you can do using Shivpuri techniques when you're dyeing fabrics to get some really gorgeous patterns. So this is the most simple one. It's just a crunch or a scrunch. But if I left it like this and I put it in my dye bath, the fabric would just pop open and the dye solution would be able to migrate into all these folds. So use a bit of string, crunch up your fabric and tie it, or you can use rubber bands, it's up to you. Now all these patterns were made with dry fabric to start with, and then the dye solution was added to them with the soda solution included into the dye bath. Here's my next fold, very simple. Fold the fabric, fold it again lengthwise. You keep folding it up until you can't fold it anymore. You can see the darker fabric here was on the outside of the bundle. Put a rubber band around it, or some string, and that's what it looks like. You can see the white lines here from the string or the rubber bands. This little bullseye, really easy to do. I folded my fabric in half, and then I gathered it around like this. And then I tied string around it until I get this. You can do it with larger pieces of fabric too. This one is more of a grid pattern. It's like this grid pattern, but it's more even because of the way that we've folded it. You fold it up into an accordion fold. So it's just pleated up like you would, like the pleats, the folds on an accordion are. Obviously if you wanted a bigger grid, you'd pleat it in a bigger accordion, like so. Then the accordion folds go the other way. You can make an uneven grid by doing a bigger accordion fold in one direction and then a smaller accordion fold in the other. So can you see how it's pleated up in an accordion? And then you put the string around. The tighter you tie your string or your rubber bands, the less the dye can migrate through the folds. The whiter your inside pieces will be and the crisper your design. Of course there's other factors that can influence dye too, so there's always a bit of serendipity involved. I love this pattern. These look like vertebrae to me, or bones, and it's a really simple one. I'll just gather these ones out of the way. I just scooshed it up, very technical term, scooshed it up like this into uneven pleats, and then use the very complicated item of pegs. And 1, 2, 3, 4 pegs make 4 white stripes. The more pegs you put on, the more white stripes you could get. Right, what's my next pattern? This one, with these beautiful diagonal folds, is called a flag fold. You start with your accordion fold again, and then you fold down one corner into a triangle, then fold it along the flat edge, see, like that. Then you fold it along the diagonal edge again, and then the flat edge, and then the diagonal edge. So it's just like an accordion fold, but on a triangular basis. And yes, you'll probably stuff it up once or twice. I still stuff it up now and then, get myself confused, but that's okay. It's not the end of the world, you can refold it. This is one of those folds that can benefit from an iron as you're doing it to keep that nice and crisp. And here's what it looks like when it's all bundled up with string. These letters were to identify for me which fold I was doing and what colour I was using. So that's just part of my record keeping that I do. Okay, here's a fun pattern. I like this one. In the folded bundle, looks like a little sushi roll. I started by rolling along the shorter edge of my fabric, and then I rolled it up into a roll, and then I rolled it the other direction And the tighter you do it, the more interesting of these marks you get. And you can see that this solid piece with the one white band around it was on the outside. The white band is caused by the string or the rubber band. And the most innermost portion of the roll is the lightest section. So if you're doing bigger pieces of fabric, keep that in mind. Right, this was an interesting one. I started getting trickier and more complicated, and I inserted objects into my folds. So these are erasers for erasing pencil. Just, you can buy them in a big pack of, a dozen or so. I folded this piece into thirds. I folded in some triangles. Then I folded it up into a diamond. And then I took one eraser into the center, folded it around that eraser, and I put erasers, you can see it's not quite lining up. I put the erasers on the other side, folded those down around the erasers, and tied it with string. So you can see the resists created by those erasers. You can use other found objects too. Just use non-reactive metal, otherwise you might get rust stains, or plastic, or plexiglass shapes, and you can get them from, you can have them made for you, or you can have some specialist dye shops will sell them. Here, instead of plexiglass, I've just used old CDs. I think this one is one of my favourite designs. I just folded it into thirds, using that accordion fold again, and into thirds again, sticking with that accordion fold. I placed one CD on top and one CD on the bottom, and just folded my edges over. Used a rubber band, or three. Of course, the tighter you do it, the better you resist. You can also use a clamp to clamp it down. I didn't have any. Rubber bands just work fine. And doesn't that make an interesting design? So, I hope you've learned some basic shibori folds. Experiment, be creative, have fun, and good luck!